All right, everybody. Oh, it is time once again for.
Nothing but worry.
Is that title still apt, Bonnie?
Yes, I was thinking about that this week. There are still things that I have to fret over. And despite our finally getting the house paid off, there's always something like, Lance wrecking his car, my daughter cutting her finger open, my son having aches and pains and having to deal with that, and regulating his diet, things like that, and all of the stuff I do at the house that you don't even realize gets done when you're asleep or away.
Peter's too young to be having aches and pains.
Unfortunately, he does. He's on his feet all day long. He does get a few minutes to sit down, a 30-minute lunch and a few breaks. They're not regulated like yours. They're kind of like take them when there's a lull kind of break. But, yeah, he gets aches and pains, and when he has to park at one of the distant lots, that means he has to walk a couple streets over to get up to the hospital. Then he's doing that at night, and he's going out in the cold. And then he fell down the steps this week, slipped on the icy steps, and so he's still recovering from that.
Did he have any obvious bruising?
He said he can't find any, but he can feel it. He did abrade his skin a bit on one of his arms.
A couple months ago, I asked this woman I work with, I said, do you ever get home and find bruises on yourself and go, I don't remember that happening? She said, yeah, it happens to me all the time. So we were just sitting here talking amiably, as you're wont to do as a married couple, and I mentioned something, and I said, that's our cue, that's our intro into the episode. I've got it. We got the new season of Fresh Horses, and we watched the first episode, and Ronnie Ho is dancing down the street. That's his name, right?
Roddy
Ho. He's dancing in the street with headphones on, so he can't hear a damn thing. And apparently, according to what's playing on the television soundtrack, he's listening to the Robert Palmer song "Simply Irresistible." So I was at work last night, and I had that damn song in my head, and it made me slowly think about Power Station and then Arcadia. So I said, I'm going to listen to both those records this weekend. So I got them out. And, the thing is, I was thinking about this last night. It's not just that I like the records, but it's also because they are so connected with that era, an era in which I was alive, 1985, 86, 87, roughly that time period. And it's not a nostalgia trip, really. It's more that I don't know, just bringing to mind that milieu, that zeitgeist, has a pleasurable sensation in my head, So, and I like the albums, genuinely, both of them. Power Station, of course, was the bigger success, but Arcadia, So Red the Rose, that's a really good record, too.
You mentioned a certain freedom of the period, a certain pleasure associated with that period. Do you think it's because you weren't tied down, you didn't have all the obligations of life?
That's a good point, and that's something that I did think about last night. I was trying to explain it to myself in my head. It was partly because at that age, 15, 16, 17, you start to realize that there's a bigger world and that you have access to it. And that it's not just the bigger world at large, but it's the world that's in existence right then. It's the music that's going on. It's the fashion that's going on. It's the politics that's going on. It's the broader culture that's going on. And it's very exciting. And so, yeah. Uh, I remember, I guess we were just talking about this recently. When music videos started to become this big thing, MTV, of course, was launched to take
Dominated.
advantage of that trend, not trend, but whatever. So NBC started a show, hour and a half show called Friday Night Videos, and they put big money into it because sometimes they would get access to videos before MTV got them, and it was because we never had cable, and so it had to have been on Friday Night Videos that I first saw the video for the Arcadia song "Goodbye Is Forever," and I just thought it was great. I thought the video was great. I thought the song was great, and even to this day, I love that song. I like Simon Le Bon's voice. I think Nick Rhodes is cool as hell. He's just a sharp-looking dude, and always had great hair, and he's just, yeah.
Was he the one that ended up married to the woman who did Juicy Couture?
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, a clothing line.
Okay, is there anything like Slutty Vegan?
That's a food thing.
Yeah, somebody in town has got this vegetarian restaurant with these.
They have gone under.
Well, it had these sleazy, tacky double entendres to name all the items on the menu, and it's just like, why? Why are you doing this?
Yeah, I was talking to this one woman at the blood draw station, and she mentioned she was going there, and I said, I'm a vegetarian, but the idea of going up there and ordering something that has this word.
Right, yeah.
It's like I'll have a menage a trois and then something really.
It's like, yeah.
It's too much,
It's like going, is the bun on the pussy hot dog gluten free? I don't want to have to say that out loud,
Exactly. And I mean, their appeal only goes so far. I mean, once you get to a certain age, you're like, that's just stupid.
And why would you bring your family to
like,
that?
There's crass. And then it's like unnecessary. You have to have a certain juvenile mindset that says this thing that I thought was funny at 13 and 15 is still funny when I'm 50 and 60 years old? What?
Yeah, that brings to mind something.
How many of us of this older generation and the hippies before us who embrace this vegetarian lifestyle are still in the know, when it comes to the slang? I mean, they were using phrases that I'd have to look up,
Yeah, I need to pause this 1 second. Speaking of which, I thought about something day before yesterday at work, and I looked it up online, and sure enough, I found it.
Oh my
when
God.
I was about, I'm going to go out on a limb and say 7. Somewhere around there. 6, 7, 7, 8. My mother's oldest brother, his name was Maurice, but everybody sort of slurred that into Mars. So we always called him Uncle Mars. He was, I'm trying to think of some succinct way to put it, but he had a very smutty sense of humor when he wanted to. And he bought this novelty item, and he left it on the table at my grandmother's house. And something tells me it was when it was at her house in Monroe, Georgia. But it might have been, I don't know. Anyway, so, we would go visit my grandmother in Monroe all the time. All right. So I'm in the kitchen and I see this thing on the table. All right. Now what it was a plastic doll of a monk. And it was that cheap kind of plastic. Like when you go to the dollar store and they have the cut rate, bottom of the barrel, cheapo baby dolls or knockoff Barbie dolls that you would give to some child because you're just poverty stricken or you don't give a shit. It was a monk, okay? And the features were painted, the tonsure was painted, and it had this really cheap piece of material to make the robe, and it had a string wrapped around for like the rope belt. And something tells me that my mother told me what to do with it. You push the head down, and it's a spring action inside the mechanism made his dick pop out between the slit in the robe, okay? And it mortified me. I just was thoroughly embarrassed, and I thought it was evil. So when nobody was looking, I took it out in the backyard and with a shovel chopped it into pieces and buried it in the garden. And the thing is, I'm not a prude. I like a dirty joke or sexual talk when it's in the right context. But I just thought it was just tacky, It's the kind of thing a truck driver would pick up at a truck stop back in the 70s, to show his buddies, hey, push his head down, see what happens, but you don't leave it laying around at your grandmother's house for the kids to see.
When you told me the story, I thought that you really overreacted. I thought it spoke more to the way that you were brought up with shame with regard to nudity and natural function and such. Mm-hmm. Because, I just thought of the phrase waking up with wood, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, you kind of grow up and your parents, you kind of you notice things, but nobody says anything, But you were brought up with a particular brand of heavy shame and embarrassment about anything sexual. And that's what I thought of first. Yes, it's a crass, crude, tacky, juvenile sort of humor, but I think your response was over the top.
Well, I'll give you a contrasting story in just a second.
Okay.
But I gotta admit that part of the reason it was so embarrassing was how fucking cheap it was. It was just like, at that time period, you're talking about 8 cents worth of plastic.
There was a certain tawdriness that we were taught to reject. At the time in the 1970s, there were good girls and there were bad girls. And when the women were on TV, the bad girls always looked cheap, made up, overdone. They were trashy, they were cheap, tawdry. And I can see what you're saying there, because the contrast was so glaring. It's Donna Reed versus Dolly Parton, who famously said,
It takes a lot of money to look this cheap.
Yeah. But, they went out of their way to have this contrast there. So I guess I can see you identifying it as that cheap tawdriness.
Well, the thing is, I've seen erotic art going back to like the 1500s, where they mock the Catholic clergy for actually being secretly sexual on the side. I saw this thing one time. It was a ceramic, I can't remember exactly what the hell it was, but it was some kind of ceramic thing, like a bowl or something. It had a little swing action. And something about when you moved it, this bishop would be screwing this girl. Yeah, and so you see that, and you're like, you're not as embarrassed because there's actual effort put into it.
I see what you're saying.
You know, and it's like, but this thing is just something you fool around with for 24 hours to show your 5 or 6 best buddies, and then it goes in the trash. You know?
You don't take it home to your mother's house. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
He took it home to his mother's house.
When she was living next door over here, when my grandmother was living next door over here, one night my parents went to either, I guess it was Wednesday night church, prayer meeting or whatever, or maybe it was Sunday night church. And so my sister and I stayed down over there. You know, my grandmother would babysit us. And he had left, the same uncle, he wasn't there, but he had left a sex toy catalog over there. Used to be a sex toy company called Adam and Eve, and they sold condoms and all this shit. I can't believe he did that. Just leave something laying around, take it to your mother's house, and forget you brought it. Why did you even bring it in the first fucking place? But the contrasting story I was going to tell you is this. Same grandmother, same house when she was living in Monroe. They had a lot of property, maybe 3 acres. And they had a pile of cinder blocks out way in the back. And, you know, I was fooling around out there. And I don't know if anybody out there knows what this thing is, but it was a keychain thing. And you would hold it up to the light and look in one side, and it would have a pornographic picture in it. And so you'd see this picture. And there's one near the end of Neighbors that Dan Aykroyd shows John Belushi. And the picture was of these 2 women laying naked on a bed. Okay, so I see the thing, and I'm like, what the hell is this? So I look through the lens, and I see it. I'm like, whoa. So I took it in the house and said to my mother, look what I found. And she holds it up, and she goes, oh, God, Morris probably left that here, which I don't know that he did. Some neighbor kid might have just been walking through and dropped it off. So she set it aside. Fine. All right. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. It's like an hour or 2 later, it's time to go. We're getting in the car, and I said, I need to go to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. I went in there, and I got it, put it in my pocket, and took it home. So the next day or so, we're on the school bus, probably coming home or going to, I can't remember. So I'm showing it to some of the people on the bus, right? And there's an older girl there. And she's like, well, what are you looking at? And I gave it to her. She looked it up, and she was like, oh, my God. And she threw it out the window.
Is it a public school bus?
This was public school, yeah. Okay. So this was like 3rd grade, probably. And I was like, oh, God, she threw it away. So, but the thing is, that thing didn't embarrass me. I mean, maybe because it wasn't a dick. You know, it was naked women. You can appreciate naked women. But some plastic man's dick.
I think that speaks to the way that you were taught to have shame about your own body.
Maybe.
And to have shame about your penis. Because at that point, even when an infant is born, little boys will experience the whole thing of waking up with wood, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's just this involuntary reflex. And I think it speaks to the shame about your own body that you were taught.
Yeah, maybe. When I was in 3rd grade, I had a subscription to Reader's Digest, and there was an article in there about something about what to do about VD, or all about VD. Something like I couldn't really quite penetrate the article. Like what? So I got my mother. I said, come here. I said, what is this? And she goes, oh, that's a disease a man gets when he sleeps with too many women.
What?
And that's the extent of her explanation. And I'm like, well, what does it do? She goes, it makes your thing itch. That's how she explained it.
It's really funny. When you and I were coming up, there was the explosion of AIDS in the 80s. And people had to be actually told, it only takes once for you to get HIV. Mm-hmm. It isn't a lifestyle of promiscuity. And that message that she had said reinforce that misconception that, oh, it happens when you whore around a lot, you know?
But see, the thing is, I didn't know what sex was. So sleep with a woman just meant I thought, well, lay down with a woman,
Yeah.
you know?
Euphemisms again, these things that are unclear. I guess that's one of the reasons I was so blunt with the kids.
Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you were.
I mean, we tried to be upfront. We had that wonderful little book that we found at one of the library book sales that talked about when people have sex, and they had the little animals having sex, and then you had the people in the bed that were naked, but they were covered up by the sheet up to their underarm kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was a cute little book because it addressed it at a level of a 3, 4, 5-year-old would need to understand.
Yeah. When I was in 4th grade, I was going to ACL, to the Christian school at this point, and the bus would drop us off at my mother's post office. She was the postmaster in our little town here. So get off the bus, go inside the post office, and there is a package waiting for me that she's ordered. And many people got this box set of books. It's 4 books that came in a box, and I can't remember. Life Cycle Library, was that the name of it? It was a red and sort of gray cover, and it's all about sex ed and the changes that will happen to your body, and how to discuss these things with your child, how to discuss these things with your parent, blah blah blah. It's a very good set of books, but essentially it's a set of books that parents give their children because they don't want to talk about it themselves, or they feel like they're not educated enough to say what needs to be said. So she's like, "Oh, these books came for you in the mail." So I opened the first one, and I don't think there's any actual photographs. It's all like illustrations, and there's a picture of a naked boy in there toweling off after a shower. And I'm like, "Ugh," and she goes, "Don't worry about it. Don't be ashamed. It's all natural." So I'm like, "Oh, this is about growing up. This is about becoming a man. This is about this thing I've heard about called sex." You know, I knew nothing. I knew nothing about how pregnancy happens or anything. And the books were a little bit, I don't know how to say this, clinical. No, but actually they were pretty good books. And you know, my mother, for as inept as she was in many ways, she often did the right thing, sometimes just accidentally. And when our daughter was about to go through puberty, she bought a book put out by the American Girl. I thought my mother gave it to her.
I bought it.
Are you sure? I thought... Anyway, but that book was exactly what our daughter needed to read and know. And it was told very simply and honestly, and it wasn't any tiptoeing around the subject. It was about, you're going to start having your period. This is what to do. This is what to expect. And I just thought she really appreciated that book too, didn't she?
I got it because my daughter was in a Girl Scout troop, and all of us moms waiting for the thing to end with chat and such, and one of them recommended this book, and I told her I'd gotten it, and I said, sometimes I think we should have a book that just says, that's titled Hair Where? Because when you're little, you're going, what the hell's going on with me? It's just, she thought that was the funniest thing. I said, I was more worried about hair than I was about boobs, because the hair comes first before the boobs, and you're going, what is going on with me, because you expect certain things to go in a certain order, and they don't happen, and you're like, what's going on? Why don't I have boobs yet? But why what's going, and having to bathe more often and all those other kind of
Oh
things.
God, yeah.
Yeah, and being introduced to deodorant, and you're like, ugh.
Learning to shave.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, I'll tell you a story about that in a minute.
One.
Well,
Oh,
just
yeah.
I can't remember the woman's name. The woman who wrote that series of humorous books. If you can't live without me, why aren't you dead yet? And
Oh, what is her name? Yeah, the rope for
Patricia
the
Heimel, Pamela Heimel. I can't remember.
Pamela.
What was her name?
Anyway,
She wrote a column for Playboy magazine called "On Women," I think it was called. And this particular column wasn't in any of those collections of her books, but she said certain things men don't know about women, and she said men have no idea how hairy women really are because we go through a lot of trouble to
depilatory. Yeah.
depilate,
Yeah.
and I think that is just so funny because you know.
Everybody, for women, you think in terms of boobs and your period, but there's all these other things that happen before, and it builds up, so that when those things happen, you've already had to suffer through all these other indignities. you know? I mean, having to start wearing deodorant for the first time because you realize, ew, I stink. You
Yeah.
know? Ew, I'm sweating too much. Yeah. There's an indignity there that it's so much more. Because, as a parent now, that sweet smell of babies,
Yeah.
They smell like warm bread, Then they go through this period where you're just going, go put your shoes in the back, go take a shower, get those dirty socks off, put them directly into the wash. You know what I mean? As a parent, you're going, God, that kid stinks. you know?
Well, see, I didn't have in many ways, didn't have a very close relationship with my father in particular. And I felt what you were talking about earlier about being brought up with shame and feeling ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it was taught, but some of it I think was inbuilt, just the way that I am. And
Yeah, you're weird.
I was reluctant to talk about certain things with my parents or ask about certain things or bring up certain topics. And when I started to need to shave, it starts just the very beginnings of the beard thing. I was so reluctant to ask my dad how to shave, what to do, the whole thing. So, this is when I was driving. I had this 1978 Toyota Corolla, bare bones. I drive my sister and me to school every day. So we're going to school, and all of a sudden realize, oh God, today's picture day. We got to get our pictures taken. And I thought, oh my God, I've got a little bit of fuzz on my face, and I don't want to have that show up in the picture. So I didn't know what to do. So as soon as we get to school, I go up front to the office, and I asked Mrs. Ferguson, the woman at the desk, I said, do you have any razor blades up here? And she said, oh no, I'm getting my story mixed up. I was going to say I wanted to use it to shave with, and I told her some other thing. But maybe it was because I wanted to cut a pimple out.
Oh my God.
I can't remember now. One of the two, either which way the story goes. But anyway, and I was mortified to talk about acne. Even today, the word pimple just makes me want to puke. But luckily, I never really had a problem with it, really.
I had to take Peter aside and give him a can of Barbasol and a dull razor. I said, you're going to practice shaving. And he was scared. I said, this is an older razor. Cleaned it off with alcohol. You're not going to get anybody's germs on you or anything like that. I said, you're not going to cut yourself. I said, I need for you to get a feel for it in your hands.
Well, that's funny because when
And some people would use it with the the the, the cover on the razor,
right.
but it didn't make sense to do that in my opinion. Anyway, so I had him practice that several times to
Well,
get a feel for it. And he was like you. He didn't have a beard or facial hair in any abundance. I mean, you didn't have it until you hit your middle age.
yeah.
And he's very much similar. I think it's your Indian background or something. You guys are very sparsely.
Yeah, well, when I told him how to shave, I said, "Now look, I use the brush in the mug thing, but you can also use the stuff out of the can." I said, "What do you think you prefer?" He goes, "Well, I want to do it the way you do it," and it's funny because he wound up using the stuff out of the can, whereas I still use the brush in the mug. And I just feel that's more cost effective because the shave soap bar in the mug lasts forever.
Well,
And,
Peter only uses one can of shaving cream a year.
yeah, yeah.
He doesn't need it much at all. I mean, he may get to that point where middle age sets in and everybody gets hair in abundance in all the weird places, you know?
Well,
But,
yeah, it took me forever to be able to grow a full beard
yeah.
because in the old days I had no. I could grow a goatee and a mustache, but the point right on the point of your chin, right
Just
below the
wouldn't do
lip.
it.
They would, but now it's finally come in.
I'm looking at a furry beast over here.
Yeah, that's true. I think I mentioned it on
You
an
have your
earlier
winter
episode.
beard.
Right. I've just started the tradition of starting to grow a beard on Halloween and keeping it for 6 months and then cut it off for the summer.
Yeah.
Because I have tried to have a beard in the summer, but the sweat gets caught in the beard and it's very unpleasant. I was showing Bonnie a picture of a painter I've never heard of before, a British painter named Alan Davey. Beautiful, big, snow white beard and a head full of snow white hair. I said, what do you think about this look for me as I get older? She's like, no, I don't think so.
The beard was too much. It was too long, too unkempt.
It wasn't unkempt at all. It was a beautiful.
It looked like there would be birds nesting.
He was smuggling drugs in his beard.
Or birds, caught in it. So we could eat them later.
Nobody on my father's side of the family ever had a beard.
Whereas my father's side of the family was very hirsute. I have a picture of my grandfather from the 1960s or so, and he's got short sleeves on and a tie and a pair of slacks. And his arms, it's like looking at a fucking Yeti.
Who you talking about?
This is my dad's father.
Well, yeah. I was about to say, yeah. Your grandfather
dad's-
had really hairy forearms.
And my dad's, as soon as he got out of the military, he just went full beard because shaving was just, it was a pain in the ass because he'd be shaving twice a day, you know?
Well, I'm not a hairy person, but even so, I've always hated body hair. And when I started to grow underarm hair, it was just mortifying to
Revolting.
me, and I
It's
just hated it.
It's absolutely revolting.
And as soon as I got old enough to not be naked in front of other men, I started shaving my armpits because folks, the biological function of pubic hair and underarm hair is to retain body odor. Because in the primitive days, you would sniff somebody and go, this person stinks. That means they are at sexual maturity. I can have sex with this person.
Oh my God.
You know. So, I guess we should go over. Last week I was on vacation, so we did an episode early, and we were going to do another episode on the regular time, but we wound up not doing it. So we got
part
about.
of it had to do with the fact that Reed's car conked out, so I spent the weekend with Reed car shopping.
So we've basically got a week and a half worth of intimate, personal news to catch up with. So how's your last 6, 7 days been?
Well, we'll start off with Reed's thing. Um, Her car Spiff, yes, we named it Spiff because it's a spiffy little thing, conked out. It was just a minor little repair, but it got her thinking, my car's a 2007. I've had it forever and a day. Maybe it's time to go car shopping. So she and I spent 2 days going over that. And I spent the first day car shopping, and then we went out to eat. And then the next day, we talked about cars. We went out to eat, and we got groceries for her. And we've decided to put it off because there's like a gift tax limit. You can only give somebody X amount of dollars before it's taxable. And we've already met that for the year for the kids. So we're going to wait till next year to give her money. So she's going to wait till next year, and that way she has a lot to go for a car, you know.
Hey, let me pause this 1 second.
Yeah.
I gotta get this jacket off.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, keep going with what you're.
So
week has been
she's
like.
basically decided she's going to wait. She's going to save up a little bit more. And that way she can maximize the amount she gets from us. We can loan her some. And she'll have to take a minimal amount out of her savings account and still keep a good cushion. Because, you know, we want them to have 6 months of savings for emergencies and stuff. And
You went out to eat twice. You went to.
yeah, we went to Mama Ning's over in Watkinsville. We had a fabulous meal over there. Hers arrived and they had not made the curry mild. And she reacts badly to hot curries. And so they sent it back to the kitchen and diminished the flavor by changing the profile. And then we went to Peking the next day. It just really wasn't a good experience. We just didn't get good food. It just, I don't know, it was a little too stiff. The tables were a little too
That place is a
hard.
dump.
It's not a dump. It's very nice. The problem is that everything's very fixed and rigid. And so, like, I noticed the tables were a little bit too high, and I was 5'8", I'm 5'7" now.
I thought you were taller than that.
No.
How tall is she? Reed's like 5'11".
6.
Really?
She's like a hair under 6 feet. And even she was a little bit, I don't know. And the place was nice to look at and such, but she had never been in there. She and Andrew and Susie had only gotten takeout from there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just wasn't as comfortable as Mama Ning's.
Mama Ning's is a Thai place, and at
It's
this
so
point,
good.
it's the only Thai place around here that's worth a shit anymore.
Yeah. And she and I had dumplings and spring rolls, and I had drunken noodles, and I forget what she had there. And but then we went over to Walmart, and by that point, I was having a flare up, and so I could barely get around without extreme pain. So she got a few basic things. She wanted to go look in the Christmas decor section. I wasn't up for it.
Jesus.
I know. She's gone all out with this. But
We raised them as strict atheists, and we never celebrated Christmas. And
So-
now she's sort of drifting into the mainstream.
she does it she does it because she thinks it's pretty. And
So does she and Andrew exchange gifts now?
and Susie too.
Oh, Lord.
Susie has thoroughly adopted her as her daughter-in-law. And
So she likes Reed?
oh, very much so. They've gone out antiquing, estate sales together. They have meals together. Reed and Andrew have the upstairs of the house. Susie has an extension she added on so that she can live there and they can live there too. And so they have their own balance. the first year, Reed was still strictly vegetarian. And so Susie, for Christmas, did a massive ramen bar for Reed's Christmas dinner with them. And I thought it was really cool.
Have you met Susie?
No, I haven't.
How old is she?
She's about 5 to 10 years older than us.
That's all?
Yeah, she's still in her 60s. Andrew's only 5 years older than Reed. But, yeah, Susie's still in her 60s. And she's still working. And she's a financial analyst or something with the Southern Company. And so they get on quite well. Last weekend they went to a winery. No, the weekend before they went to a winery thing in Spa or something. It was a group of them. And then at Thanksgiving, Susie was in charge of making certain that everybody who worked on Thanksgiving Day was taken care of. So she handled oversaw the catering for the staff that was forced to be on assignment for the place up in somewhere up off 85 North. They have a facility where she works at.
Okay. So my week has been pretty rough.
You went back to work.
Right, because I was off 9 days on vacation, and coming back to work after that is horrible.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it'll be 2 days of getting back into that strict sleep schedule. But it took me until yesterday to start to feel bad. Well, the day before yesterday, really. The day before yesterday, I slept 6 hours straight in the morning, and I haven't slept 6 hours straight in I don't know how long.
Wait, you didn't get up to go to the bathroom either?
No, I didn't, which is amazing.
Oh my God, you're at your age, you're supposed to go every couple hours, right?
You wouldn't believe how many times I have to pee at work during the night.
I had a doctor who was about our age. He was asking, he was an ENT, he's filling out the form, he goes, and how often do you go to the bathroom at night? I said, at least once. He goes, that's good. You need to go once or twice. I said, really? He goes, when you get to be our age, it's a sign of being properly hydrated. Don't worry about it. And I thought, interesting. Okay. I'll take your word at it. But still, it's a pain in the ass to do.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is, I like to stay hydrated, and I have no problem drinking water. Some people are like, ooh, water, it has no flavor. But on the other side, now that I'm older, it's like, well, if I drink water now, I'll have to pee, and it might disturb my sleep, and so it's really frustrating. Trying to think.
Yeah, I couldn't believe you slept till, what was it, 10 to 4 or 9:30 to 4 that day?
It was
shocking.
10 till 4. Yeah, and I got up and I was like, well, it's really late now. So I had a piece of pizza, and I was up for an hour, and then went back to bed. And I couldn't believe we went back to bed. Slept another 4 hours.
Now that I'm driving you to work, which means I have to stay up later, and then I'm not able to sleep a full 8 hours, or I'm lucky to get 6 hours in between getting you to and from work. I'm now crashing in the afternoons. I lay down on the couch to read in the afternoons. And lately, I've just gone, fuck it, close the book and just curl up and sleep. But I'm very pleased that you're back in Athens, that the commute is all of 20 miles round trip. It takes me about 40 minutes or so because with a new car and then going through this tiny little town where it gets down to 15 miles an hour on one curve, 25 in sections, and then 35, and then eventually 45. It takes forever to get through those parts. It's ridiculous. They've slowed it down.
Yeah. Well, okay. This is my main topic that I wanted to talk about, and this is what made me think.
It wasn't puberty and monk's penis?
No.
Oh.
Okay. I know that many long-time listeners are sick and tired of hearing me rattle on about meditation, but I'm going to bring it up again to get to another point. All right. I had dabbled in meditation for years, and like, oh, I really want to meditate, and I do it for like a couple of days and then forget about it. And well, let's see here. Was it 8 years ago? My surgery was 8 years ago.
2017.
So that means it was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
All right. So when I got out of the hospital after my big surgery 8 years ago, I was like determined to make a lot of big changes and a lot of take a lot of steps I'd wanted to take. And one of them was I'm going to get serious about meditation.
And the neurologists fully support this.
Mm-hmm. So I've tried many different approaches. I mean, I've pretty much meditated consistently for 8 years. And every time you make a change, you're like, oh, this is it, this is it, this is the one, this is really good one. And then after a couple of days, you're like, oh, shit. And the problem is, this is the crux of the problem. You think you're supposed to get to the point where you're focused the whole time.
No.
And if you stray, what they tell you, like in TM especially, but any general sort of non-formal meditation, they tell you, well, if you find your mind wandering, just go back, just bring your mind back into focus, just focus back on your breathing again. And it's, you do that, but you think, well, I'm really supposed to be. So a couple days ago, I decided, you know what? Treat the whole thing, even the letting your mind wander, treat that as part of the meditation. Just enjoy the fact that you are meditating, the fact that you're sitting there calmly and peacefully and just, in the dark. I meditate in a dark room. And this whole week, I meditate 20 minutes 2 times a day. This whole week, the meditation has been absolutely fantastic. Pretty much the best meditation I've ever had, and pretty much the most consistent. But here's the funny thing. Now that I've just decided, if your mind's wandering, you start to think about this and this and this and this, treat that as part of it. An interesting analogy occurred to me. Because I watch so much crap on YouTube, and it has so many ads, a very natural analogy occurs to you that the letting your mind wander part are ads. And but the funny thing is, when an ad happens on like a YouTube video, you know it. Oh shit, there's an ad. Get ready to mute it and to pause it or to skip it, But a mind ad, let's just call them mind ads. They happen so subtly that I count my breaths. That's how I know that 20 minutes has gone by, because I know how many breaths are going to be in 20 minutes, basically. You're counting your breaths and you're focused, but then you slowly, so subtly slip into some tangent that you don't even realize it. And I was thinking, first of all, isn't it funny that we've become so used to watching videos online that that analogy naturally occurs to associate your own mental functions, the little movie that's going on in your head all the time, with that. But also, I have totally forgotten what I was going to say. So anyway, but
off into an ad.
oh, but the other thing is this: what if one day they get so good at making ads and tailoring the ads for you particularly that you don't even realize you've slipped into an ad? I've begun to notice this a lot.
Product placement.
Well, Legion Miller has a YouTube channel called The Something Lawyer. I can't remember. But anyway, her main sponsor is Ground News, and she'll be talking about some stupid thing Trump's done, and then she'll just go right into an ad for Ground News without, at the first 30 words, you don't realize that that's what she's doing. So what if all ads were like that? And you're like, oh, the ad's just as interesting and informative as the rest. I mean, like you're 5 years old again, you know?
What was that thing we watched years ago where the guy talks about tastes good like a cigarette should? What was that ad for?
It was Winston. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. That was
Jack Parr, was it? One of those types.
well, no, that was an ad campaign back in the.
No, I'm saying that they did it on the show.
Oh yeah,
They would be just midstream, and then they would light up, and
I've seen old TV shows from the 50s where it's like a talk show, you know, and like Jack Parr or Johnny Carson or something are sitting at the desk talking, and then they go, and by the way, folks, this show is sponsored by Philip Morris, and he'll light up a cigarette and go, it's just so wonderful. And now back to the show, and it's not like we're going to cut away to a 30-second, placement spot. No, this is in the show.
I don't know. I think it was more humorous when Legion Miller was sponsored by the dildo companies. You remember that?
She still does that occasionally,
that?
you know.
The one that really caught my attention were the silent ones.
Oh yeah,
and I was like, oh my fucking God, this is hilarious. She turns it on and you don't hear it, and you're like, that's clever.
That's funny you mention that because I saw Fluide Glacial is a humor magazine in France, and I'm on Pinterest all the time looking at cool pictures, and they have some of the covers of Fluide Glacial, and they're always really funny. And one is the one I pulled up on the screen just about an hour ago. It's this old lady, and she's in like a sex toy grocery store, and she's checking out, and her grocery basket is just full of vibrators and dildos. And the cashier says, you going to put this on your credit card? And she says, no, on my national health care card.
That's really funny. I heard an interview with, what's the European news thing they have on NPR, Odd Hours?
You talking about Europe Today?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that. No, I keep meaning to listen to it. But
And they talked about how they had sex surrogates that were covered under one of the Northern European health services. And the sex surrogates were for people who were handicapped, disabled, etc.
you mean like prostitutes that work for the national health care?
They are sex surrogates, and that's what they bill them as. And it's for people, they realize that these handicapped people may not be able to have a normal relationship, and so they hire people to go in and rub one out. I don't know how they.
Well, you know, that's a funny thing because they.
You know, to stimulate them in whatever way gets them off.
They acknowledge that sex is healthy. And
yes.
But here in America, if you propose something like that, my tax dollars are going to pay for you to sleep with a hooker, you know.
Yeah. And they just called them sex surrogates. And I thought, that is a lot more open-minded than anything we'd ever consider in puritanical America.
Well, you remember Rush Limbaugh was throwing a fucking fit and called Sandra Fluke a whore.
Because she dares to be a single woman who wants to be on birth control. God forbid she want to have sex.
But he and the Republicans in general acted like she wanted to just spread her legs to the world. You know, folks, you can have one regular partner and get pregnant. I don't know if you've realized that.
It's more than that. It's like I talked to Reed. I said, you know, your partner may be in a position where he no longer, you know, if your partner chooses to have a vasectomy, etc. I said, you need to always be on something because you can be raped. And that's the reality. And a single woman should have access to contraception, if anything, to protect herself from becoming pregnant by rape. And they act like somehow or another that's not justified. Or worse, they promote these lies that women can't get pregnant from rape, not if it's a real rape. The body shuts itself down. I've heard this shit spouted by Republican men and women.
Well, another thing is, it's still a baby, and you should, God has sent
God
this.
intended it. He
Well,
meant for you to be
why
raped.
don't you
what the fuck?
Well, why don't you have your magic Big Daddy in the sky take care of it then? This total caveman thinking. Listen, I need to get a cup of tea. I'll be right back. I'm gonna pause this.
Oh.
All right, I'm back. Bonnie has bought me a big container of powdered instant coffee, and I find that if I put a little spoonful of that in my tea and mix it up, it does taste pretty bad, but it gives you a little extra caffeine, which I need right now because I didn't get all my sleep today. All right, so we were talking about taxpayers paying for our fucking. What else?
Do we want to talk about our errands today?
Had a lot to do today. I got home and slept maybe an hour and a half.
Wasn't long.
And got up and said, look, we might as well go ahead and go and do what we got to do. Had some books to pick up at the library, which closes at 2, so it worked out well that we left when we did.
Yeah, went to recycling.
Yeah.
Went to the bank, ATM and inside. Went to drop off the toaster I got yesterday because they can't make anything the quality they used to make. I bought the exact same one I bought 10 years ago. And it wouldn't go down half the time. I tried it 10 or 12 different times, and half the time the toast wouldn't stay down. And then it never got toasted. The bread.
I think you're better off just going to Walmart and picking something up. Yeah.
But
I don't think we need a toaster that has 4 slots. We'll just stick with the 2-slot one, right?
we had a 2-slot, and we got another 2-slot one. So
That's what I'm saying. Because when you replaced the one we have, I thought, well, should we get a 4-slot one? I don't know.
no, it's no point. We don't have everybody in the house anymore. And then we went to the Dollar Tree. You went to the Dollar Tree. We went to get gas. When we were supposed to go to the insurance guy, I could never get him on the phone. So we just came home and ate and then crashed.
Yeah, that's when I had the burger and the onion rings. Because I meditated for 20 minutes while you cooked the onion rings and everything. But see,
what about what you got at the grocery store? Are we going to talk about that? I mean, at the gas station?
yeah, Bonnie agreed that I could get some kratom this weekend. So
tell me, what is it exactly again?
I get it mixed up. I think kava are the leaves, and kratom it's 2 different plants, but kratom is a root, and it acts on the mu receptors, whatever the hell that is. But it's a feeling similar to an opiate, and makes you relaxed and makes you feel.
Does it help with pain?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Huh.
So anyway, but like everything in this country that has is associated with painkillers or feeling good, it's expensive as fuck when you know it doesn't cost anywhere near that.
$18.
Well, it was $8.
Two of them.
Plus a lottery ticket. Plus tax.
Oh, did you bring me change? I thought you brought me pennies.
No, it was like I gave you like 50 cents change, 45 cents change, I think.
Yeah, so $18 for 2 of them.
Maybe it was more like, instead of $8 per bottle, maybe it was like $8.49. I can't remember.
Anyway.
But anyway, right before we started recording, I I drank a bottle of the stuff and took maybe 10 minutes to kick in. That initial
Do you feel impairment?
no,
This isn't something that fucks with your ability to drive?
no. I mean, you couldn't take a lot of it, but no, it doesn't make you sleepy, and it's just sort of a.
Of course, here in this state, if you take a Benadryl and drive, they give you a DUI. So never admit to taking Benadryl.
I couldn't drive on Benadryl. That stuff just really makes me feel groggy as hell. I can't stand it. Because, I mean, if you're going to take it to get to sleep, fine. But then even the next day, after you've woken up, you're like, oh, God, I still feel like drag ass. But the other thing I was going to say is the thing I got at the dollar store, I bought some orange nail polish. Now, let me explain why. About a year or two ago, on one of my many attempts to alter my meditation routine, I thought, well, I would start using counting beads. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I bought a big, I can't remember what color I wanted, but I wound up getting brown beads. And it was a great big bag, more than I needed. So I made 3 different strands of different lengths, and counting the beads for meditating didn't work out. But one of the strands is long enough for me to make into a bracelet. So I've been wearing this bracelet pretty much every day. And every time I look at it, I'm like, it's brown. So last weekend, I got the idea. I have a lot of black nail polish in my studio, and sometimes I paint my toes with it, and sometimes I use it for areas on the painting that need a heavy area of black. So I thought, you know what? If I hang these beads up and just run the applicator of the nail polish up and down the strands of beads, not covering them complete, but just randomly go up and down, it'll make random striations on the beads. And it worked out really, really well. But then I got to thinking a couple days later, if I put orange on there, it'll give it this, if you've ever seen like a marble, like the kind of marbles that you shoot
Like
marbles with.
tiger's eye?
Right, it would have this like sort of tiger's eye thing, brown, black, orange, striated in just random patterns. So the dollar store sells cheap nail polish. So we go in there and they only, out of all the nail polish they had only one bottle of orange, and it wasn't really exactly what I wanted. I got home and used it, and it's not really it's more of a opalescent orange.
Ouch.
But I'm gonna let it dry and
Layer it.
I might put some more black on there, and then maybe in a month I'll go get like to a different dollar store and get the kind of orange I wanted. But who knows? When it dries, we'll see what it's like. But
Is it more tortoiseshell than tiger's eye?
I don't know what you mean by that exactly.
Well, the tortoiseshell has that also mottled colors. Mix of
Oh,
colors.
you mean like tortoiseshell, like you might find on a pair of glasses?
Yeah.
That type.
Based on
No, the orange is too garish, which is not what I wanted at all. I wanted something a little more, just like the kind of orange you might get out of a coloring crayon, you know? So Peter, our son, has been aching to watch the original Conan the Barbarian movie again. And I basically told him, look, I've seen it like 10 times, and I'm not in the mood to watch it anytime again. So he got Bonnie to watch it with him today.
I couldn't believe how much I've forgotten. It's like watching it for the first time again.
Really?
We did this with Predator a couple weeks ago, and I thoroughly loved it. I remembered nothing of that movie. This, I remember some things. But the original Predator, I saw in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
And I must have only seen it once. because how little I remember it. Conan, I know I've seen it multiple times with you, because it was one of the things we showed to the kids. It was one of the things they had to watch. Dune, Blade Runner, Conan the Barbarian.
The original King Kong and the 1976 remake. We showed the kids many times.
Godfather 1 and 2, which the kids never got into. I think it was the horse head that put them off.
I'll tell you another movie that I shared with Peter that he thoroughly got into. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh, God, yeah, that series. It's great.
And The Dirty Dozen, another
that was
great
silly,
movie.
Yeah. Yeah, we insisted on showing them a lot of the classics.
Yeah. So anyway,
We were lucky when the kids were coming up. There was a video store 10 miles from here. They had 5 for 5 specials, 5 days, 5 movies, $5. Mm-hmm. And they had all the classics. Because at that point, videos were still king. And everybody wanted to be able to see the classic
video
movies.
cassettes.
And then they began moving into DVDs. And so a lot of the newer stuff would come out in DVDs. You'd pay a premium for that. But this place kept the videotape.
Well, the thing is that
they saw all those Japanese anime movies from them, too.
That's what I was about to say. The place was called Video Library, and it was like a mom and pop place. It was way better than Blockbuster.
Video Library?
Well, this guy named Link, that was his nickname, owned it. And for some reason, I guess, I don't know what happened, but they closed down and they reopened this Video Link on the other side of town, and it wasn't nearly as good. But when they had Video Library, which was there for 30 years, it must have been, they had just all kinds of crazy stuff. That's where I saw the Quay brothers for the first time. And they had classic they had a section of Japanese movies, and it wasn't just samurai shit. They had Stray Dog. They had Taxing Woman. Tampopo. They had all kinds of great stuff in there. And what's that movie called? When a Woman Ascends the Stairs, and Floating Weeds, one of my favorite movies of all time.
And the Alain Delon movies that we
Le Cercle Rouge.
And who was the other, the one that your father looks like?
Oh, Breathless. Jean-Paul Belmondo, yeah.
Yes. And then all the Italian greats.
That's where, before you and I were married, in that year before you and I got married, I was going through this period of change. And so I wanted to explore new things and learn new things. So I had heard about Fellini and Bergman.
Yes.
So I went in Video Library and I said, listen, I want to get into Fellini and Bergman. What can you recommend by them?
They had it all.
And he said, well, as far as Bergman's concerned, you want to watch, God, what's the name of the goddamn movie?
But it had Max von Sydow in it, didn't it?
No, it was
not that one?
It was about the 3 sisters, and one of them's dying.
I can't remember.
Oh, God, I can't remember. Something about Red. But anyway, and as far as Fellini, he recommended Armacord, which is a great movie.
They also had the Blue, White, Red series.
Yes.
We got so many good movies there. We ended up buying Das Boot, didn't we?
I don't think so.
I thought we'd bought Das Boot after having watched it there. And that's a fabulous...
You mean on cassette? I don't think
loved that movie.
And I'll tell you something else.
Das Boot is a joke in that movie, that series, The Peep Show.
Yeah. Oh, God. On Peep Show, Mark loves Das Boot, and he makes Sophie watch it with him. And they're in the middle of watching it, and she goes, How long is Das Boot, by the way? He goes, 3 quality hours. And then at one point, they're watching it, and she goes, oh, are they on a submarine?
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
It's going to drive me crazy until I think of that movie.
That's okay.
I'll think of it later. No, it's not Red. It's Cries and Whispers. I don't know why I thought Red. Yeah, that's... Oh, God, that's a...
They also had a copy of Reds. We saw that movie from there. The Warren Beatty.
I know.
Going to Russia. It was the whole thing was that we got to see everything. They had every single Woody Allen movie he had done at that point while they were still open.
Yeah.
We just got to see things that we normally would not have ever had a chance to see, because at that time cable said, we're only going to give you this. We're not going to give you these extra options.
Cable has always been a ripoff. Always.
And online platforms were basically non-existent at that point outside of YouTube. And then there was a length limitation on how long videos could be. And it just... If you could find something, it was in pieces.
I'll tell you a story related to Video Library. When Bonnie was pregnant with our first child, she knew in a day or two the baby's coming. It is going to be very soon.
Yeah,
so we're getting ready.
I was like a couple centimeters dilated. So we decided this is our last hurrah.
This evening, on this particular evening, she's like, well, let's get ready. Let's make preparations because we know we're going to be home for a couple of days after the baby's born. Let's go to Video Library and let's rent some movies. We'll have some movies.
Let's go out to eat. We went to the Grit. And we had dinner together.
Wow.
It was the last time we were able to go out as a couple.
Okay.
And so we went out to eat, and we were going to go to Video Link.
So we go to Video Library.
And
to rent movies.
He walks in the door.
We're standing there. Bonnie has on a dress, okay? And her water broke in the store.
No. As I was about to approach... I was walking through the threshold.
No, I remember where we were.
I wasn't in the store because I had to clean up.
Yes, it was. Because you made a mess on the rug.
No, I did not.
You did not?
No, I did not, because she said your water's going to break soon. So I had prepped and I had something on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Some sort of...
So, yeah.
Okay.
And so I felt the water and I stepped back out of the store. I mean, I was a step in and step right back out. I said, my water just broke. Let's go home, get the bags, and go. And I even had a towel in the car to sit on. And I'm like, we got to go get my bags and then get back up there. We go to the hospital. And they're showing me to the room. I go, okay, before I get hooked up and stuff, I said I need to go to the bathroom. So Lance is in the room. I go, and they've got these big doors that are big enough to basically put a wheelchair through. I walk in there, and the door comes off the hinges and pins me against the wall. I had a C-section.
I'll tell you what else happened that night. I had gone through one of my many periods of getting off caffeine. So I'm so proud of myself because I haven't had caffeine in months. I had a cup of coffee at the hospital to keep functioning, and that set me. The one cup of coffee set me off, and I was
addiction
back on
restored.
It again. Yeah, exactly. Oh Lord.
You want to tell them about the $20 bill?
Oh yeah, after the baby was born, Bonnie's mother and stepfather came to see the baby and everything. And her stepfather, like some classic movie from the 50s, he slips me a sort of tightly folded up $20 bill in a handshake. It was just funny as hell. All right, we have been recording for an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, we need to call this quits. It's been a long time.
So, any final thoughts?
No. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Bye-bye.